Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
I am now about to speak with Tom Smith. Tom Smith is well known to those of us who love New York. He is a retired policeman, and I have so much I want to ask him. Tell me, Tom, first, before we go into something as stupid as this, why is it important for this NYPD snowball incident to be taken seriously, although it should be? Yeah.
First of all, thank you for having me, Cindy. It's a privilege to be here. And it's important because it sets the tone for what this administration is setting the city up and the criminals to act like. When you are starting it off with getting away with something like this, what's the future? You know, criminals always know what the policies of where they live are and how much they can get away with. This is a bad measuring stick to start off your administration in the eyes of New Yorkers, because you're letting criminals take over the streets and you're downplaying and degrading the NYPD, whose job it is to keep everybody safe and put their lives on the line every day. So what you're doing is you're emboldening these criminals to not only act this way, but now they're going to act even above this because they know what they can get away with.
Oh, I completely, totally agree with you. I'm not asking you to knock anybody, but tell me, what about our police commissioner? How do you think she feels about all this?
Well, I know she has a deep respect for the NYPD, even though she didn't serve in law enforcement. But the one thing I would like to see her do is not go on X to respond to this. I would like to see her in front of a group of cameras behind a podium and maybe slamming her hand on that podium and being a little mad at the way her cops are being treated. And the flippant response by the mayor should infuriate her more, because she is the face of the NYPD. She's their leader. She's their commissioner. So she has to put out there that she has their back, no matter who's in City Hall, no matter who's in Gracie Mansion. They need to know that when things like this happen in the city, that the police commissioner is going to have their back.
Can it be that she's too chicken?
Well, here's the thing with that. We don't know the parameters that were set forth before she got picked to stay as police commissioner. I hope that is not a measuring stick in this. I hope that is not a determining factor in this, that she has enough respect, and that's what it is. Above all else, respect for the department that she is running and the men and women of this department putting themselves out there every day. I hope she's not being held back by her own will because of some agreement that was mentioned or stated when this administration started.
I don't think it can be the way you and I would like it. I also have watched her. Again, I do not mean to say anything against her or the police. I love the police. But every time she gets in front of a microphone, she is reading from her pad. It's not like she's talking from the heart. She's reading what she has pre-written. I don't really understand that.
No, I agree. Because when you're talking about the greatest department in the world that you are the police commissioner of, your statements have to come from the heart. They can't be read like you just stated. Because here's why, Cindy, the men and women of the NYPD notice that. And they see that. And they see the lack of vigor in her to back them up. And if you lose the men and women in uniform and the men and women of this department as their leader, you're going to have a tough time getting them back.
Okay, who are you? Where are you? Where did you come from? Where were you born? Why did you become a cop?
I was born up in Washington Heights, and my dad was an NYPD detective. So I grew up in that world. I grew up idolizing my dad and wanting to be like him. And then when I had the opportunity, I joined the force in 1990 and had a 30-year career in the NYPD, which took me to patrol, anti-crime, narcotics, robbery squad. And then after 9/11, I was assigned to the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, where I spent the last 17 years of my career.
I don't mean to knock the FBI. I am a flag-waving, patriotic, United States American citizen who loves this country passionately. But I don't understand why the FBI missed the thing with the president months ago. I don't understand why it screwed up this. They couldn't find it. I mean, they couldn't find her mother. What's happened to FBI? Is F meaning frig you? Is that what it is?
Well, I think, putting it in perspective, I think they're in a better spot now than they were 4 or 5 years ago. That's for sure. Because there was no leadership. And what it was back then, Cindy, was a political machine. And they got off focus of what they were, the institution stands for, and going out and getting bad guys and terrorism and white collar crimes. And then I think right now they're in a better spot. The FBI, when it comes to the Guthrie case, I think I've asked way too late to join the game. And it's very hard to get involved in this type of case when you're a week and a half behind the case, because now you have to go back like 2 weeks to catch up. So I think they initially got put into a bad spot when it came to that case. But I also don't understand why that sheriff's office is not utilizing them the right way, like using their lab, which is the best in the country and the best in the world. They've been doing lab work since the 30s. Why would you send such a vital piece of evidence to another lab in Florida other than the FBI's?
Well, that's such an interesting question. So tell me, have you ever screwed up?
Yeah. We all have. There's times, it's just a level that you screw up. I don't remember really.
Oh, you don't remember. You can remember everything else and you can't remember that?
Well, if I screwed up of a monumental task, no, I'd say no. But everyone makes mistakes, and you know what it is? It's what? Teamwork. It's people that you work with to pick you up when something bad does happen.
Okay. Tell me about, now, before I get off the snowball thing, which is just so aggravating, what steps should be taken so this disrespect does not happen in the future? And I'm not sure, before you answer, that there is a way, because the country is now based on disrespect. That's what it is. There's disrespect for mothers, for fathers, for education, for religion. Where is their respect? Why should they have it for the police?
No, you're absolutely right. And where it comes from, Cindy, is the rhetoric that's out there. The anti-police rhetoric, men aren't men anymore. You have to be this way. You have to act this way. You have to talk this way. Once you get society lined up down that road, you're in a tough spot, because the 24-hour news cycle and social media and the computer adds to the problems of the disrespect that's out there, because the criminals and kids of today don't watch the news like me and you did. They think TikTok is the news. So when they're watching these influencers on TikTok or any other social media platform, they think it's real, and they think that's the world, and that's not the case. And that's why we're in such a bad spot when it comes to respect of everyone, Cindy. I mean, the police, teachers, doctors, everyone that has a level of respect that's necessary in society aren't getting it because of the horrible rhetoric that's coming out of Washington, out of local officials that are elected, And they're listening to that, and that's the problem.
How about our chunky DA who lets everybody out, providing they have made something terrible? If you kill somebody, they take you out of jail quickly because they don't want you to eat their food. What is the point? What is the point? What is it? What happened to law and order? You guys are on the inside. I'm on the outside. I would like to know what the hell is happening.
Yep, and here's what's happening. You have elected officials who are dictating what goes on in the city, like Alvin Bragg. You know, when I take you back a little bit, Cindy, in the 1990s, okay, when we were averaging 2,800 homicides and 115,000 robberies every year in the beginning of the year. And then Bill Bratton came into the NYPD and put forth a plan of we're going to let our cops be cops. But here's the most important part of why the city turned around. He took that plan and added the district attorneys in the city to it, basically saying to them, listen, if I'm going to send my cops out there to be cops, you better keep these people in jail once they get arrested, because it's the only way the city is going to turn around and become safe again. So when elected, DAs become political, this is what you get. And now you have a mayor and a DA who are lined up together. There's going to be a lot of damage done to this city for residents, for tourists, because if they're on the same wavelength of not taking crime serious and leading towards taking care of criminals and not society, we are going to be in for a long, long haul. And the people in the city better get used to the high numbers that we used to have, because they can come back in an instant when criminals are not being held accountable for their crimes.
So, about our current, pardon the expression, mayor, Crap Dammy. How is Crap Dammy treating the police force?
Well, I mean, it's obvious in the last two incidences that happened. And first of all, he can't get away from the social media posts that he put out before he started to run for mayor, calling us racist, wicked, the worst parts of society. That's what he thought of us. And then all of a sudden, we're supposed to believe he had an epiphany and became supporters of the police. That's not the case at all. So let's go back a couple of weeks. You had an individual who had a steak knife who wanted to drive it through the throat or chest of a New York City police officer.
Yeah.
The police officer handled it the right way. And what's the mayor do? He goes and visits this perpetrator in the hospital and then has the audacity to stand in front of a camera and say there shouldn't be any criminal charges against him. So that right there should just tell everyone his view of the NYPD. Now you have the snowball incident of it just being a bunch of kids having a snowball fight. And his response of two of those officers ending up in the hospital aggravated him that he even had to talk about it. So everyone should really pay attention to what he's doing on the look of the NYPD. It's a dangerous time, Cindy, because if you take the NYPD out of the city and out of the equation of keeping people safe and letting them do their job, we just revert back to the way the 70s and 80s were in the city.
Oh, I know that. I remember that. I know about an apartment that's on Park Avenue, and people came out of their apartment on Park Avenue, opened the door of their Park Avenue apartment by the doorman, and was helped into their car with a driver waiting. And there was a man flat out, a white guy, flat out in front of the door, totally out. He was alive, but he was right in front of the door on Park Avenue. Where the hell are we going? People are moving out of New York City. People can't afford to live in New York City.
Mm-hmm. And that's when I've always said this, Cindy, when politics gets involved in law enforcement, that's a huge problem. There's certain parts of political realm should not be in. Education, law enforcement, the medical field, stay out of that, because they don't know what it takes to do what they do. They don't, like this mayor has no idea how the NYPD works, why they're around, what their goals are? None. Absolutely none. And then when he starts professing in front of a camera of who should be locked up or who shouldn't be locked up, listen, I think the last I looked, there were a bunch of marches and protests about no kings. Like, no one should have that much power. Remember that? And now New York City is bowing to that and allowing a political figure to stand in front of them dictating who should get locked up or who should be charged with a crime, especially when it comes to assault and police officers.
Okay, I agree with you totally. Before we lose half the audience, I want to ask about the Guthrie case. I don't understand why it is taking a long time to solve. I don't understand, first of all, why Nancy Guthrie? Why not 12 other people in 10 other houses? Why her? Did somebody hate her? She wasn't that rich. Why particularly Nancy Guthrie?
Yeah, that's a great question, Cindy, and that's what this investigation is focused around, the whole why. I've been asking why since this case started, and the only viable thing I can come up with, and this is just my opinion, that once they got into the house, whether she mentioned who she was or mentioned who her daughter was, that, hey, we'll give you whatever, just don't hurt me, I think that's what propelled them to get to the next level of taking her out of the house. Now, I think it started as a burglary or a home invasion that then led to or rose to a kidnapping. And you don't know what happened once she got in a car before they maybe got to an ATM machine or to a phone or whatever it might be. So that's what law enforcement is trying to break through. And the biggest problem with this, Cindy, is where the house is located and the remote outlook of it, or the remote geographical location of it, with having no cameras or no ability to even see at night, is a problem when it comes to surveillance video. You know, we relied on it so much with other cases, and other cases has been positive in the outcome of them because of video surveillance. So now when we don't have any, it looks like nothing's being done. And I guarantee you, here's the one part. Every detective or agent who's involved in this is still looking at every lead to try to get some sort of closure or perpetrator or whatever it might be in the end of this to come to a conclusion.
Your first major case, since you wanted to be a cop, what was it and what did you learn from it? Your first major case or your first case of any sort?
Well, the first major case I think I did was when I was in narcotics, and my partner and I had a case that we actually worked with the DEA and ended up shutting down a enormous drug trafficking ring from Venezuela up to the Bronx. And we ended up seizing 125 kilos of cocaine and arresting 7 nationals from Venezuela and a handful of individuals from the Bronx. So I think that was one of the first big ones that I did that taught me it's all about hard work. It's all about focus. It's all about teamwork and communication. To get a case like that done on an international level took a lot, but it took a lot of teamwork and a lot of, nonstop focus on what you wanted the end game to be. And the end game was to shut down this drug trafficking ring, which we did.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I love the cops. I love New York. I love the United States. But what would impel somebody in today's world to become a police officer?
Yeah, it's a calling, Cindy. And you know what? I tell this to young cops. I tell this to college kids when I'm speaking in colleges, that if you have the calling to serve, protect people, keep people safe, then you need to do it. Because here's why. Police officers and law enforcement will outlive any politician. So you shouldn't be focused on who's running what. If you have a calling to do this job, you need to do it. It's hard, it's difficult, But the only thing that some people have is that drive to help. And that's what police officers do. And it's very hard to get them off track if they have that on their mind. And I still think there's so many talented young people out there that want to do this job. And I hope they do, because, like I said, politicians go away. The police departments will always be here, and your family in the police department will always be here.
You ever arrested the wrong person?
No.
Oh, I'm sure you might have, but I won't push you. Okay. Do you miss working in the field? I mean, you were out there doing all of this, but now you're not. How do you feel?
Yes, I do. It's something that no matter how long you're off the job, you'll never get it out of you. It will always be part of your life, and the drive that you have will never, ever leave you. And, you know, I did it for more than half my life, Cindy, when I retired. So it's all I've ever done. So when you see these cases that are on the news, or certain situations that I get on the news to talk about, it brings back those memories and that feeling of just wanting to be involved in it and do the best you can to solve a case.
Is it a high? Is that it? A little bit?
It's an adrenaline rush. It always was. Because you have to remember, we're doing a job that 99% of this country will never do and would never even think about doing. So you have to get pumped up, and your adrenaline needs to get up to a certain level in order to do some of the things we ended up doing. So it just becomes part of your everyday life. And even if you retire, you can't shut it off.
Is New York, in your view, totally falling into disrepair?
It's close. It's on, and that's the sad part of this. This can go either way. We're such at a tipping point, even early in this administration, with where this city is going to go. And you have a election coming up with the governor in November. God knows where she's going to land once, if she gets reelected. So we're really on a tipping point. But here's how the city can avoid a tipping point like this, Cindy. And that is, people need to listening to people running for office, and stop just hitting a switch or voting for the person that has a certain letter at the end of their name. They need to start listening to what they stand for. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, Independent, there's people out there that don't care about the city. They have an ideology of what's driving them a certain way. And if we really get politicians into an ideology way, we're in a lot of trouble, not just in New York City, but across this country, because that can't be. You have to govern and think of the people that are residents, that are tourists. Anything to do with this city has to be at your forefront, not the ideologies you have lived with or grown up with, because that's where we get into a really dangerous situation.
I'm not that smart, but it appears to me we have already gone that bent. It has already happened. The snowballing is only one little bit. The fact that they don't back up cops, that's another little bit. It's going small, little by little by little. It's like when you catch your hem and you rip a piece of thread out, bit by bit, the whole goddamn hem goes down. That is what is happening to the city of New York. That is what is happening to the United States of America. What is going to happen to the NYPD, the police department? It's going to be thinner and thinner and thinner, and we're going to get more commissioners with blonde hair that are reading what they should be asking. I want to know what is going to happen.
Well, I hope that in the future, like, we have to deal with what we're dealing with right now. And hopefully in the future, there is someone that steps up who believes in New York City, who wants everything right for New York City and can lead this city the way it can. And right now, there was an election, and that's the bad part of this. We have to just get together as a city and combat this nonsense that's going to be put forward. And as far as the NYPD goes, Cindy, cops in the NYPD are very simple people. Have our back. Just support us and be behind us. And you need strong leadership to do that. And if you can't handle that, then step aside and let someone else take over. If you don't have the guts or stamina or belief to stand up for your cops, no matter who the mayor is, then get out of the way and let someone else take over.
Oh, he's crappy. Please, I can't bear the mayor. Before I throw you the hell off, can you just tell me? Can you just tell me? Did you ever screw up yourself?
Oh, we did, yeah. Because listen, here's the thing, Cindy. Cops are human beings. We make mistakes. We screw up. We make wrong calls. That happens because we're human beings. And a lot of times when mistakes happen, it's a decision that has to be made in 0.7 seconds, which 90% of this country could never handle. And do mistakes get made? 100%. Did I make them? All the time.
Oh, that's so nice. That makes me feel so good. Just tell me what we should have done or what we will do if there's another snowstorm and another group of hooligans start pelting a cop with snow. Tell me what we should do.
Well, that's up to the leadership of the NYPD, who needs to, like I just said, get in front of a camera and tell the cops to their face, if you're faced with this situation again, I want 20 people arrested on the scene. That's it. There you go. That's how you do it, because now you're telling cops to be cops and not get assaulted, not let other people get assaulted. And if this happens again, someone's calling additional units to get there, and we're all going to show up, and there's going to be a lot of people going to jail.
Okay, Tom, I have to tell you, you've been pretty boring to speak to. And
I tried.
I love you. I love the NYPD. I love New York. I love the United States of America. I love what it was when it was growing up. I love that I used to keep my doors open. I love it. I don't love it now. And I am grateful for people like you who are speaking up.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, Cindy. It's important to me because even though I retired, it's still my family and it's still my city. And there's a ton of other retirees who have done this job the same amount of time as me and longer than me that feel the same way.
Thank you, baby. Thank you, honey. Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming on. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.